Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Samsung S-Series history. 2010 also saw the launch of Samsung's first S-Series phone, the Galaxy S. We've moved on a lot in 13 years, but Samsung's smartphone champions have done just the opposite, getting sleeker, thinner, sexier, and more. With the Samsung Galaxy S23 and Galaxy S23 Ultra now the headline act, we thought we'd take a stroll down memory lane, looking back at the full history of Galaxy smartphones. Samsung Galaxy SI 2010. The Galaxy is the handset that kick-started Samsung's journey along the path to world smartphone domination. Announced in March 2010 and released in June, it packed in some of the most impressive specs available at the time. Its 1GS ARM Hummingbird processor coupled with 512 MB RAM and the most powerful graphics processing of any smartphone made it a SpecFind's #1 choice. While its foreign 800x400 display sounds archaic by today's standards, it was still a super AMOLED affair, making the Apple iPhone 4's screen look positively washed out in comparison. Samsung Galaxy CA 2011. This is it, folks. This is the handset that really put Samsung on the map. The Galaxy CI helped push Samsung ahead of Apple in smartphone sales, and it deserved the praise. Its superb Super AMOLED Plus screen was miles ahead of the competition as Samsung ditched the Pentile matrix for a regular RGB matrix display. In English, that means that it was even sharper than the original Galaxy SIS screen, while maintaining its true blacks and rich colors. It was also the most powerful phone in the world at the time, beating out the likes of the Motorola Atrix with its dual-core ARM Cortex, a Adreno processor, and 1 GB of RAM, along with up to 32 GB of internal storage and expandable memory support, all of which help to run Android 2.3 Gingerbread. Samsung Galaxy SII 2012. The Galaxy CE is where it all went horribly wrong for Samsung. Wait, did we say horribly wrong? We meant to say incredibly well. Like, really massively, unbelievably well. The quad-core beast was once again the most powerful handset in the world at the time of its release, and its 1080p screen was a joy to behold. The usefulness of some of these features, such as screen-on eye tracking and picture-in-picture in PictureTin, were debatable. The C wasn't as pretty as its iPhone 4's rival, but that didn't stop it from outselling Apple's poster child. Throw in an impressive 8MP camera and 8.5 hours of non-stop video playback, and it's clear to see why the Galaxy CIE jumped straight to the top of Stuff's top 10 smartphone list. Samsung Galaxy S4 2013. Galaxy S4 was Samsung's fastest-selling handset ever, with a whopping 20 million units sold in the first 2 months. The phone landed with plenty of power beneath its plastic shell, in the form of Qualcomm's mighty Snapdragon 600 processor and 2 GB of RAM. The full HD AMOLED display made its return, and the rear camera received a healthy bump up to 13 megapixels. Samsung Galaxy S5 2014. The Galaxy S5's launch was the first occasion in which people's love affair with Samsung began to falter slightly. Predictably, the insides were faster and the camera was as impressive as the S5's slightly flaky fingerprint sensor, which required an annoying swiping action, and gimmicky heart rate scanner didn't help matters either. Still, it was a solid flagship nonetheless, shipping 10 million units in just 25 days. Making it Samsung's fastest ever shipping smart. Samsung Galaxy 6 and S6 Edge 2015. Simply put, Samsung smashed it in 2015 when it released the Galaxy 6 and 6 Edge. The plastic had finally been banished and was replaced with lovely premium metal and glass. The handset felt as good as the iPhone and HT1 Min 9 in the hands, and the 6 Edge, with its curved display, was a thing of beauty. The camera was superb, and until its successor came out, it was the best smartphone camera we had ever tested. The once niggly fingerprint scanner had become lightning fast and worked just like Apple's Touch It home button, with no pesky swiping gesture required. The power of Samsung's own octa-core processor blew the competition out of the water, and its 2K Super AMOLED display was the best we've ever seen on a smartphone. It's still fantastic today. Overall, the Galaxy 6 was an absolute stunner of a handset. Samsung Galaxy 7 and 7 Edge, 2016. Unveiled at MWC in February 2016, the Samsung Galaxy 7 and 7 Edge were potentially Samsung's sleekest, sexiest, most powerful handsets to date. While their designs appear almost identical to the existing 6 and 6 Edge, their backs have been rounded off to make for a more comfortable, grippy shape, and the protruding camera lens is now almost flush. The premium metal and glass build remains, this time with the addition of I68 water resistance. Both handsets retain Samsung's excellent 2K Super AMOLED display, though the Edge's screen has increased from 5.1 inches to 5.5 inches, which has resulted in larger, more useful Edge app. Samsung also improved the camera by increasing the sensor size and aperture, as well as implementing dual-pixel autofocus, all of which resulted in more light being absorbed, hence better shots in low light conditions, and sharper shots when snapping moving subject. Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus 2017. Unlike Apple's iPhone 6s, Samsung didn't revisit the same basic design for a third time. The Galaxy S8 went for something bold and new, and Samsung's gamble paid off. The Galaxy S8 and Galaxy S8 Plus offer striking silhouettes with a taller than usual 18.5 curved infinity display that covers nearly the entire face of the phone, with minimal bezel on the top and bottom, and no, there's no more flat-screened edition. It's a fabulous display again, of course, a 2960x1440 Super AMOLED screen in 5.8 in and 6.2 in sizes, depending on the model. The fingerprint sensor's new placement on the back is clunky, unfortunately, but it's the rare knock against an otherwise fabulous handset. Inside, of course, the Galaxy S8 has plenty of power, packing an Exynos 8895 processor or Snapdragon 835 in some parts of the world, with 4GB RAM to Samsung has a brilliant camera here. It's only a 12-megapixel sensor, but advanced image processing abilities take a lot of the blur and noise out of shots. It actually snaps 3 photos when you tap the button and then creates one oft-brilliant final product. It's heavy on style, heavy on perks, and certainly staggering in price. But if you want the best of the best in the smartphone world right now, it's the Galaxy S8 and Galaxy S8 Plus. Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus, 2018. Samsung stuck to its guns with the Galaxy S9 series, on the design front at least. Practically identical to their S8 predecessors, the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus retained their smooth, organic, pebble-like curves and minimalistic side bezels, making for a premium, comfortable experience. Standout features, at least, at the time, included 3D avatars in the form of R emoji, which, if you're being honest, probably saw next to no. The S9 did, at least, have a far more useful feature in the form of a dual-aperture main camera, which let users switch between 4.5 and 4 on the fly. Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and S10, 29. The design was, once again, pretty familiar, marking the last time Samsung could have probably gotten away with the same rounded look without fearing criticism for playing it too safe. Tantalizing specs in the S10 range included a groundbreaking in-display ultrasonic fingerprint sensor ear scanners, be damned, along with a triple camera setup and a punch-out selfie cam for a sleeker front appearance. Samsung Galaxy S20 and S20 Plus, 2020. Samsung decided to spare us all the unsymmetrical eyesore of S1319 monikers back in 2019 when it skipped straight from S10 to S20. After years of teasing near bezel-less screens, the S20 range was the first time that we saw Samsung almost eliminate them for good, thanks to that clever punch-out selfie cam. The predictably vibrant, old display also saw a notable bump up to a 120Hz haze refresh rate, while the rear triple camera setup serves up more photographic flexibility. The slightly larger Galaxy S20 Plus offers similar specs, albeit with a little more screen real estate and a slightly larger battery. Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, 2020. The Galaxy S20 Ultra ushered in a new no-compromise flagship category for Samsung, which made headlines with a large 120's 6.9-in display, a huge 108 1PMP camera, and a whopping 10 The latter is a genuinely useful feature for getting more detailed shots of distant subjects, though the 100x space zoom turned out to be more of a pixelated mess. You can't defeat the laws of physics after all. Samsung Galaxy S21 and S21 Plus. At first glance, the Galaxy S21 and larger S21 Plus appeared to be downgrades. After all, they landed with plastic rears and not the absolute best battery life around. Dig a little deeper though, and you'll see that their launch prices were a little less than those of their predecessors. Camera performance delivered too, but it's the unmatched style and head-turning colours that made the S21 and S21 Plus stand out from the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra 2021. The Galaxy S21 Ultra still houses one of the best overall smartphone cameras you're likely to use today, with superb shots in all lighting conditions, with detailed zoom on offer as well. Galaxy Note fans can also use a Seacon bundled S Pen for doodling and note-taking, while the ultra-adaptive screen blends a maximum 120Hz refresh rate with battery-sipping cleverness, letting it Samsung Galaxy S22 and S22 Plus. 2020. The S22 and S22 Plus resemble their predecessors, although their Gorilla Glass Victus Plus construction makes for a hardier improvement. Super fast, old screens and more than capable cameras are, as expected, also present, although the cream of the imaging prowess is reserved for the higher-end Galaxy S22 Ultra, as which should come as no surprise by nay. Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra 2022. The Galaxy S22 Ultra landed as the first true Note successor, thanks to the inclusion of the S Pen, which mercifully can be stored inside the handset itself, rather than being lost down the side of the couch. Super fast internals, a large 6.8-inch screen, and a headline grabbing 108-mint camera made the S22 Ultra the handset to beat. That is, at least, until its Galaxy S23 successor came along. Samsung Galaxy S23 and S23 Plus 2023. Powered by the mighty Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor and 8GB of RAM. These are, unsurprisingly, two of the most powerful phones Samsung has ever made. The largest 23 Plus features 45 fast charging versus the slower 25U charging of its sibling. But both have the same 50MP main camera, 12MP ultra-wide and 10 telephoto, complete with 3x optical zoom for snapping quality pic. Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra 2023. As predicted, Samsung's latest and greatest flagship is the most powerful and feature-packed one yet. With a largely unchanged design, although the rear camera housing has slimmed down, it's the combination of tech that makes it shine. From a beautiful, bright screen to a camera setup that's capable in almost any situation, thanks to a 10x optical zoom lens and a huge 200MP main sensor, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra is shaping up to be a contender for one of the best phones of 2023.
The S10 range landed with 5 models in total: the regular Galaxy S10, the larger S10 Plus, the more affordable S10e, and a model with 5G support thrown in for good measure.